So, last night I watched a movie called Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Um, I'm not sure when this came out. I want to say like 2015, probably somewhere around there, 2016. Um, I couldn't tell you the director's name or any of the actors in it. Um, this was a French film that premiered at Cannes Film Festival and won all sorts of awards at Cannes Film Festival. Um, it's about this painter who goes and visits this um, mother and her daughter to paint the daughter, but like they've had issues like in the past of people of other painters like failing to paint her, and this takes place like old time I don't know like exactly what time period, but probably like 1600s, something like that, 1700s, somewhere, I don't know, something like that, and yeah, in France, and it feels weird because I feel like I'm underqualified to talk about this movie. Um, it's very very feminine. There's like a lot of feminine things in here as far as um, there's menstruation, there's abortion, there's you know a lot of things that as a masculine man, I'm completely lost on. Um, that being said, I love this movie. Uh, the the way like the relationship between the painter and like the daughter unfolds, it it's I make the comparison of Past Lives and like After Sun of just like these like authentic feeling movies. Like at no point did I feel like that like this relationship is being this way because of for the sake of drama and for the sake of cinema. Like it starts out and they're just kind of stealing glances like when the other one's like not working, and occasionally they'll catch like each other in their eyes, and like it just slowly like builds and builds, and like another thing too, like you know we know through history that a lot of times that these uh these couples, these relationships of same-sex partners were erased by history. um there's a movement called Sappho and Her Friend, and uh, they use the term sapphic to describe like these like lesbian like pieces of media, um, basically because like like these two like are very much like lovers, but like the future would have like they'd be like, oh, they're good friends or whatever, or it's just a painter and like the person that's being painted, like it's, but like no, they had like a genuine connection and a very intense romance that, because of things of their time, like because they're a product of their time, like they could never like um like let roll its course like naturally, like, and it's sad, but at the same time, like like that forbidden love, quote unquote, um possibly like made like the romance like even more intense, and like it's obvious that like they never stopped loving each other even after like they stopped being near each other, like they always thought about each other. Like it's, I don't know, it's a very touching movie, and like it's weird because like I've watched like Mulholland Drive, that has like a very prominent lesbian relationship. I've watched Blue is the Warmest Color, which had a very prominent lesbian relationship. Um, Recently watched Eileen, that had a very prominent, all but one-sided lesbian relationship, lesbian idealization, whatever you want to call it. And like this feels like the most natural out of like all those, and like I think that's like why this is like heralded as like such like a higher form of lesbian sapphic cinema. um like other than that, like the movie is gorgeous. Like they have like these outside shots like where they're like on like a cliffside. I'm assuming somewhere in France or Europe or something. And because I know like she's like being like married off to someone like that's in like Milan, which is I believe is near Italy or in Italy. I'm terrible with geography. Um, and like I know like the coast of like Italy is a very scenic place. But I didn't know France had like a very nice looking coast or anything like that. Um, and like these shots of like just like nature are just stunning. And then like the colors, it's very reminiscent of like almost like a Technicolor feel of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory that I watched earlier this year. Like very vibrant colors that like contrast very much. Like the painter is always like wearing like red, and like the I want to say her name's Heloise, um, is always wearing blue, and like when she's being painted, she's always wearing green, and like it's these very contrasting colors. And on top of that, like you have like a lot of like nighttime scenes that are like lit by candlelight, and it's like I don't know if it's like purely done by candlelight. Like I don't know if like there's like some other like lighting going on, but it feels like very natural and everything, which you know emphasizes like, hey, this movie is like supposed to be like a very natural relationship, and everything, and it's not artificially inflated. There's a few scenes in this movie that like I don't think I'll ever like get. They'll stick with me. Like there's number like 28 that gets brought up in the film, and like 28's like not like a very common number, but I'm sure like the next time I think of 28, like I'll think of a scene in this film. There's also a scene like where Heloise first sits down to be painted, and like the painter is sitting there, hey, like arch your back, like look this way, put your chest out, like move your hand or whatever, and she gets behind her canvas, and she like looks over at her, and she's like, look towards me, and Heloise looks towards her, and I swear like they make that scene like light up slightly, and it's like you can tell like at this moment like that's like when the painter is like falling like for this girl, like very much so. I highly recommend this movie to anyone. It's I know like a lot of people will be turned off because like the lesbian subject of the movie, but I like it's a very loving relationship. It's a very intense relationship, and like if more relationships were like that, then like I think like the world would be a better place. Like whether it's girl, guy, guy, girl, or any form of the spectrum, like between there, non-binary, transgender, like anything like that, like any relationship could like learn from this and like feel that like intense emotion. I can't imagine like rating this movie like anything other than like a 5 out of 5. I do think it's like one of the best films I've ever seen in my life, and it's weird too after watching like Aftermath and I Am Legend, which you kind of talk about like the bottom of the barrel and like a very like average movie, and like now you're talking like the top of the top, like, but like I can't imagine it's like going down like lower than a 4.5, like, but right now it's a 5 out of 5 for me. That is Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I wish I could tell you like the year it came out, and I know it's not that old, maybe like 2017, 2018, but it's a few years old at least. Anyways, I still have like a few more movies like on my list that I plan on watching. Carol, Priscilla. I've mentioned these like in another movie, or in another video, but Carol, Priscilla, Loving Vincent, Settlers, The Last Colony, Last Sentinel, Artifice Girl. I think those are like the main ones on my list. And Blue Beetle, which is like a DC film. But anyways, those are going to be like the next movies like on my list. I this is actually a thing. Like, as I was talking about that, I had a thought. Like, of I wonder, like, I'm sure like the colors mean something. Like, the thing I can think of, like, like red is typically like a very like strong emotion. Like like anger and love are typically like associated with red. And then like as far as like blue's typically considered like a cold emotion. And um so like when the relationship first starts out, like the Heloise is like very closed off. So I think that maybe that's like why she's being portrayed as blue, is because she's being like very closed off. And like when she's being painted, her dress color changes to green. And I'm not really sure like the meaning behind the color green. I always thought like it was like more like nature oriented. Um, but like obviously like, the green that she wears is lighter than the shade of blue she wears. But like I almost like wonder if like the dress should have been purple, because like uh, blue and red mixed together is like purple. I don't know. Anyways, I'm sure there's like some color theory in there that like I've never like went to school for film, but I could see this being like analyzed by like like a higher level of film critics, and seeing like even like more meaning out of it. But me as like just a fan of film, like I love this movie. Anyways, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, like all the good stuff. Bye.